so I don't forget.
Okay. Don't say anything that can't be heard by the masses.
Well, I also need to get on top of, gosh, I can't read anything.
I saw in the notes you sent out for tonight's meeting,
Yeah,
the NAV Center has people who can volunteer for stuff.
yep.
Well, Jan, who just logged in, needs volunteers for the event setup and things like that.
Okay. Well, I can put him in touch. Have you heard from them about having a table?
No. How's that supposed to happen?
Well, I gave them I think your and Jan's contact information.
Ah, well, when I get back, I'll follow up on stuff like that, I guess.
Okay.
Okay. Hey, Jan,
Hi, Claire. Hi,
did
John.
you did you
Hey,
hear
hey,
what
Jan.
did you hear what I just said to John? Were you in yet?
Am I mute?
Did you hear what I just said to John about Navigation Center volunteers?
No.
I'll be
So,
right back.
the Navigation Center said that some of the folks who live there want to be volunteers for us.
Oh, okay.
So John has the contact information for you to recruit them.
Okay. All right.
I think
Boy,
that's
what a
kind of cool.
day.
Yeah, what's happening?
Well, one of the things in the news that a lot of people are saying, well, I'm not surprised. The Yevgeny, whatever the guy's name in Russia,
Oh yeah, he got assassinated on the plane, huh?
he just a slight accident on an airplane, along with like 10 other people. I think the
Right.
message is don't mess with people we don't like.
Yeah, really.
Oh my God. I thought I could watch the Republican debate, but you can't. I would have
Yeah,
been
you have to stream Fox News. I don't think so.
I would have been. I guess we can probably watch some clips of it, but I would have been interested to see that.
Well, John
It-
was just saying a few comments about it.
Yeah, I went onto the Fox News app and listened to it for a while. They're really fighting with each other. They're not talking about Trump. They're shooting themselves in the foot over climate issues, and they're arguing back and forth about abortions. Several of them say it should be a national ban,
Hmm.
which is great because they can't win if they do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So did the Fox News folks pose a question about climate?
Yep.
What was the question?
Well, they turned it over to a young person who said, "What
Oh,
the heck are you going to do about this climate? Do you
I see.
believe it is man-made?" And they asked people to raise their hands if they believe that the climate crisis is man-made, and everybody refused to.
Nobody
Wow.
raised their hand.
They refused
Wow.
to participate in the process.
That's so slimy.
Oh, so
Mm,
it was an audience person who was invited to ask a question.
Right.
Yeah. Well, good for that person.
Yeah, it's interesting. Looks like Dan is here. And Misty, all right.
Wait,
We have a quorum.
good. Do you know anything about Michelle and
Michelle said she would log in if her plane landed on time.
right.
So I think we can assume that she's unlikely to be here. So I think that's it with Brenda and
There she
Michelle?
is. No, there, there's Beth.
Okay, good.
Okay, we're set to go. 7 o'clock on the nose.
So shall we get started?
Yeah,
Apologize that I let this slip by my attention and got the agenda to you the latest ever, and I really feel terrible about that, but
Oh, you should.
hopefully,
I was so disappointed, John.
well, you should be, seriously.
I
Uh,
mean,
I'm
seriously,
not
John, you're
kidding.
letting things slip here.
We
You know.
could
there's
do-
Michelle. Hi, Michelle. Glad you could make it.
Yeah, well, I guess I have not accommodated to the fact that we're no longer having our board meeting the third Monday, but that's my problem.
Okay.
So, did everybody at least have a chance to look at the agenda? Does anyone want to
Yes.
make any changes?
I've seen it.
Okay, well, let's just jump into it, I guess. Um, here we are. I'm not going to put it up if that's okay with everybody, because then that takes over the space. So, no agenda adjustments, any announcements? Okay, let's continue on. I assume that it's summer and your hand was a problem, but Michelle, I did not see any new minutes to approve. Did I miss anything?
You're muted.
Michelle, you're still muted. Okay,
How's
well, there she
How's
is.
that? Now can you?
Yeah, yes, we can hear you now.
Okay. No, I just got back from a week in Colorado and I've been planning this thing for months with 9 people all going to my nephew's
wow.
wedding. Yeah, so it's been crazy. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Just wanted to make sure I didn't miss anything.
No, you didn't miss anything.
Okay, and there's nothing else in the consent calendar, so we can move on. Review previous general meeting. We tried to Zoom that one, and from what I've heard from Claire and others, we still have not solved the sound problem. So I think we need to redouble our efforts and make it so people can attend via Zoom as well as in person. But otherwise, how do people feel about that meeting?
As far as the technology of it or the meeting in general? No, you're mute.
Yeah, that's what I just said to myself and nobody heard it. And any or all of it, the technology, the content, Harry cursing me in the meeting, anything you want to talk about.
I would have liked to have heard Lindsay talk a little more about something besides the M's.
Yeah, well, it was her time. I did find it interesting that only 2 people raised their hand in support. But
Yeah.
Yeah, she also talked about the possibility of the 1/4 of an acre lot between her house and Philo being used for some kind of a public purpose. Did anybody have any thoughts about that?
Isn't that already Parks and Open Space land?
No, it's owned by the county, I believe.
Oh, I see.
And
Homes for Good.
Yeah, homes for good specifically. But I'm impressed that they would consider some use other. I suppose it's not developable for them, so I don't know. Claire, you and I were involved a long time ago on putting together a proposal for a food forest. I wonder if that might work there. Of course, we did hear that it's possibly a place that's contaminated, but at any rate, I think we should keep that in mind and keep that in front of Lindsay and see where we can go, unless people have concerns. Jan?
Yeah, of course, I didn't hear a lot of what went on, just because I don't hear very well. It wasn't the technology. So what parcel of land are we talking about here?
There's a quarter of an acre that fronts on River Road that's just south of the Velo Apartments that evidently got split off or was a separate piece of property in any case that was not sold to Evergreen Housing and is still held by Homes for Good. And she approached them about doing something natural or maybe unnatural with a food forest. So she's continuing to pursue it. But I just think we should keep our mind, let's not forget about that. That could be something that was really interesting.
And that might be an opportunity to engage some of the people who live in the apartments personally. And a lot of people would think that any apartment complex that has the geographic capacity should make space available to people who live there who want to have a garden. So
Yeah, that's a possibility too.
um,
Okay, well, I just wanted to put that out there and see where it was going. But I was a little disappointed too, that she spent so much time talking about the M's. But I guess
So-
they have to make a decision. Yes, Claire.
I CC'd you all on a letter that I sent to the council about the M's decision. And Jennifer Ye responded to me and said that the council isn't making a decision on that. That's county. And I think she's wrong. So anyway, that I just wanted to let you know that. The other thing about the meeting that I wanted to say is that I was zooming in and the situation with people using John's computer mic does not work. Unless you're standing right next to it, I couldn't hear anything going on, so I left early.
Gotcha. Well, we can scratch that one. That leaves us the two options of working with the microphone and camera that is already there. And I think we might be able to avoid problems by making sure that, assuming there's a charger there, that we charge it in our setup so that we know that it has a fresh charge. Or the cable may not have been set properly into the owl. We need to figure this out because people do want to be able to Zoom, and it's direction from the city that we do it anyway.
There
So-
are some online how-tos for the OWL if anybody wants to study up on it and facilitate this.
Okay. Does anyone want, thank you for that little prod, Claire. Does anyone want to take the responsibility of leading this effort or working with me with this effort?
How early can we get the owl to work with? Like getting it even an hour before showtime is not the best, but if we can get it for, even a weekend where, we can get all the bugs worked out, get an SOP in place that says, do this, then this, then this, then we're going to have a lot more likelihood of success.
Yeah, and I think we could try that, just between two people on Zoom to see if we could make it work. The good news is because we have a Monday night meeting, we could probably pick up the owl from the city on Friday, and that would give us the whole weekend to play with it. That's a
That
good
would be
idea.
wonderful. And if
Okay.
so, I'm happy to do that. I have plenty of AV equipment and computers and Apple and all that stuff that we can use to run with it. Plus, I've got a blue microphone, which is, production.
Okay.
And that will do very well as a backup if we needed to.
Thanks, Dan. That sounds great. Let's make that a priority before the next meeting. Anything else on that last
right.
meeting, Jan?
yeah, I appreciated Brenda after a while with the sound issues, repeating the question. And I'm sure
Yeah.
a lot of people benefited from that as well. So I think that's a good bit of protocol right there.
Agreed. Okay, shall we go on to the big issue of the night, and that's preparing for September 9th River Celebration. Before I turn it over to you, Claire, I looked today and I put this in the agenda. There are 17 people expressing interest in this event on Facebook.
You're still
That's
on the calendar,
incredible.
John.
That's great.
Pardon? No, I'm sorry.
That's all right. So, has anybody, I don't think the mailer has gone out yet. I think it's supposed to go out next, Labor Day time. But we're doing really well. Things are coming together. There's a lot of kind of loose ends due to the fact that we don't have 100% coverage of people who are being responsible for a piece of thing. Like Jan has really stepped up and done a lot of work and taken care on logistics. So he's our logistics guy, and that's fantastic. And Julie and Becky are doing the Razor Park area. Brenda has been working on the outreach to businesses with Dan, and also spoken word circle. And so she and I are going to be responsible for the area by the Filbert Groove and Stultz. And then there's about 5 people signed up to do movement related stuff out by Mary Lane. So there's a lot of things that are I'm afraid that nobody's on top of. And when I get back, I'm going to kind of like be sure everything's covered, but we could use some more overview type people. For instance, we have a song circle, but we don't have anybody who's like emceeing the song circle and gonna hang out there and, do that. We have the same thing for the speakers, spoken word circle. So that's there's, a number of things like that need more help for leadership overview. Outreach, we have big posters that we're starting to put out. We'll be doing more of that next week. We have the smaller post flyers that we're giving out that we're going to go door to dooring with. I was disappointed that y'all didn't want to do canvassing, and I think that would be interesting conversation about, is it because we're getting old? Is it because we don't like to knock on people's doors? What's up with that? So Misty and me and Ellen and Michelle, are you not doing it, right? Canvassing? You're muted. I didn't hear you.
I signed up for it.
I saw you did, but then I thought later you said you couldn't do it.
No.
Okay, anyway, so the reason I think, we're trying to think strategically here, and the reason why we're doing the door-to-door canvassing is to reach renters, because the survey showed that we don't have very many renters, and we kind of already know that. And so we want, it's a really nice thing to go and invite someone to a party, to a celebration. And on the, first thing, and then they're looking at that, they say, oh, I'm going to come, blah, 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 or not. And then you say, and then, do you know about the River Road Community Organization meetings? And next meeting is going to be about renters issues, and we'd really like you to come. So that's the approach. That's how it ties together. I'm going to put together some little flyers, inviting people specifically to the September and October meetings. I have no clue how many people are going to come to this event. It could be, I think I would feel really great if 5 people, 100 people came.
I think there's going to be a lot more than that.
That's what I'm saying. I think there's going to be a lot more than that. And so there's just a lot of really interesting things that people are coming forward to offer. There's going to be, in Razor Park, they're going to have butterfly nets, and they're going to scoop up bugs and look at them under, magnifying glasses, and they're going to be doing chalk art about pollinators with the kids, and they're going to be, so tables. My job when I get back is to get the overview list of tables set up, and John and I were just talking about, we haven't got a handshake with the navigation center, for instance. But so between 11 and 12, we're going to want to have all hands on deck to help set up and help greet people coming in and show them where to go and everything. So I just want to stop here and ask if there's any questions or suggestions that you're pondering. And Jan can report other needs we have too. Yeah.
Just for everybody else's information, I sent an email to all of our elected officials and invited them to join us either with a table or just to meld with a crowd. Did you hear from any of them?
No.
The only one that responded to me was Senator Manning, and he said he was going to be out of town. So
Okay.
I would
So I-
not be surprised.
an update on
Go
that.
ahead, Dan.
What?
Both Councilor Leach and candidate Walker will be there.
Okay. Did they
Who's
want a
Candace
table?
Walker?
Pardon?
Who's Candace Walker?
Candidate.
Walker.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
I just,
And yes,
so-
they do need a table.
okay.
I'm sorry, what'd you say, Dan?
Yes, they do need a table.
Okay, thanks.
So okay, Jan can speak to that. Jan, do you want to go ahead and put out your reporting requests?
Yeah, a couple of items. I did a pricing on portable toilets, and the toilet situation is looking like we'll have two. We'll have one from the city. Kelsey has one that they use, I guess, at big work parties. So I think what I need to have is, I guess, more or less permission to make arrangements for one portable toilet, which will cost about $240 to have it on site and have it delivered and picked up. Because that's an expense. I don't know who's going to pay for that, but I need to have permission to do that. And then another item.
Wait
I
a minute,
know-
Jan, I got a question about that. You said we have two toilets. Is that the one from Ouchie plus the one from Open Space? Or is we just have one from the city or two from the city?
I asked Cindy if the city had toilets, and she said essentially you're going to have to go to a commercial source
Because-
for toilets. I don't know if she even knew that Parks and Open Space has one, because I've
There
already.
was there was
Well-
that list of stuff that we can borrow from the city that was on a link that I sent you, and it had a toilet on there.
Well, Kelsey and I have talked about toilets, and we already
Okay.
know where the one from the city is going to be located.
Okay, so but that's only one, right? So you say
That's-
we need,
That's all
Okay.
I know about.
so for a total of two toilets, we need to rent one.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I
Well,
didn't.
That's,
It's
and
unclear to
I'm
me.
saying if we want to rent one, it's $240 from Bucks, which is more or less local. So I'm thinking I need to have permission to do that.
John has his hand up.
Do we know whether or not our outreach funds will pay for it? Did you ask Cindy if we could get reimbursed through our outreach funds? Or, I mean, if the city will pay, let's let the city pay. Claire, I'm looking at the list of what you can check out, and there is no toilet there.
There isn't. Okay, well, thanks. Daniel?
But there's a question standing there. Jan, did you talk to Cindy about them paying for the toilet?
Oh,
I'm sorry, I didn't hear your answer.
no, I did not.
Okay, well, if you don't mind, I'll call and check tomorrow unless you want to do it.
I'll do it. I'll do it.
Okay, because if they're gonna pay for it, I'm all in favor.
Yeah.
Well, I think we need more than one.
We have one free from the city and one that we're gonna pay for, right?
That's what the
Or
status is.
someone
right
will
now.
pay for it,
Okay,
if we agree to incur the cost.
right. Dan has his hand up.
Yeah, so a couple things. One, if we're talking to Bucks, I mean, I've been a customer at Bucks for 6 years now, and they get about $300, almost $400 out of me every month. So I can give them a call and see if they would be willing to just donate one for the day. Did we already ask for them to donate, or did we just ask them to price it out?
Well, Why not ask them?
No, I'm saying, has someone already asked them to donate and they have said no, or do we just call and get a price?
No, I don't think anybody asked them. Jan, did you hear that?
I did not ask for a donation.
Okay, well, we should always ask for donations for everything, just as a standard. But I'll ping them tomorrow and ask them and talk to Sally over there and see if she'll do it. They may end up doing is comping the drop off and pickup, and then we would just have to pay for the clean out, which is $100. So that sounds probably what that would be my guess is what they'll end up doing.
Great,
but
thanks, Dan.
what I would suggest though is, I mean, if we're talking about 750 people liking the scenario, and the typical rule of this is half as many people show up as RSVP,
Right.
even a fraction of that is a lesser, let's say 200 people are there. I don't think 2 toilets is enough. I mean, you got a kiddo who's got to go. They don't have a whole lot of lead time. They gotta go.
We
They gotta
got
go.
trees.
Sure, but I would wonder if there's businesses nearby who would be willing to kind of accommodate spillover, as horrible as a phrase that would be in this topic, or if we can get Bucks to go with 2 additional. I think that's probably wise.
That might be a good idea because none of the businesses are really that close. The River Song has been is a possibility, but they're not really accessible from the path. You have to go hiking. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
I would,
I think it's real possible. It wouldn't hurt to have 2 from Bucks. We don't know.
Yeah. John?
well, I'm concerned. I think we have something like $1,700 in our personal account. Dan, is that close?
I don't know what the account is. I just know I'm on it. I haven't looked at the account balance.
But
Would it
my
be-
point is that if we rented 3 toilets, that takes a pretty heavy chunk out of that if we have to pay. So I think it's important to know, will the city reimburse? Will we get some sort of a cut from
Discount,
Bucks
yeah.
before we make this decision?
Yeah.
Agreed.
Sure.
I think
I
the
guess I was
first
saying
thing-
that if we were already getting 1 through the city, and then we would be picking up a second and a third. If we have to do all 3, then that's going to be a pretty quick hit.
Yeah.
I
Okay,
suggest-
so
I suggest we find out if the city is gonna reimburse, and
Yeah.
then we have a little bit of an action plan, either one way or the other. I don't mind talking with Emily, was her name, I think, from Bucks. She was real friendly. Maybe what we could do if we ordered 2 is ask if they would donate 1.
Dan, we should leverage Dan's long-term business relationship with them.
So
I
the
can't
next
tell.
question,
I can't tell if you heard me or not. Jan, are you frozen?
No,
Oh. Okay,
so I'll give him a call in the morning.
all right.
The
And you check
next
back
question
with
I
me.
wait,
next question
Dan,
I have is,
Dan, I'm kind of wondering, are you saying you're going to call?
I'm going to call Bucks in the morning and see if they will donate.
Because he has a long-term business relationship with them, Jan.
I see. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Well, just as long as we have a plan and we know what we're doing, then I won't call then. I'll call, email to Cindy and find out what the city will reimburse or not. And, before you make a call, Daniel, let me get that information from Cindy. She's pretty good at responding quickly.
Yeah,
Sure.
that's great.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, then I'll
Good. Thank you, guys.
let us all know what Cindy says, and then if Cindy, no matter what Cindy says, then what we'll do is see about getting 2 from Buck and see if they'll donate something.
Okay. Anything else from your side, Jan?
Yeah, I wanted to
Cheers.
ask about outreach. I know this is a River Road event. We're not inviting the city to come to this. I think this is a pretty cool event that people ought to know about. I'd like to consider inviting the media, you know, not for the media to invite the city, but for the media to come and see what's happening in our neighborhoods. Not just that we're having an event, but come and see what kind of culture and what kind of interests there are in our neighborhoods. I'd like us to invite the TV stations. I'd like to see us invite the neighborhood leaders, not asking neighborhood associations to invite everybody in South Eugene to come to this, but to invite neighborhood leaders to come and take a look so they might learn something about what we're doing, and we could invite them to make comments about how we could make our event better too. So I think it would be, I'd like to see us invite.
I did post on the neighborhood leaders Google group list about the event. Just FYI.
I say,
But we can invite them again.
I say
Yeah.
invite them again too.
Yeah.
John, are you going to neighborhood leaders meetings?
Yes.
Yeah, I would suggest that if everybody's agreeable, just to mention it, you know, when you're making announcements.
Yeah, we have another meeting actually, we don't meet in August. So there won't be a meeting to invite them, but I can use the listserv to invite them.
Yeah, no,
electronically.
Yeah, that's what I did.
good.
Yeah, the listserv, yeah.
And to be clear to them, this isn't a citywide event, but we just think it's an interesting neighborhood initiative, and they might be interested in
Right.
and share that with their board members.
Right.
Good deal.
Dan?
Yeah, so I'm pretty good friends with Ariel, who's the anchor at KEZI. She just did a piece with
That's
me on mental health care, so I can ping her. I'm sure she'll send someone out.
That'd be great. They're good.
The question I had before this is escaping me. You guys were just talking about something. Hopefully that comes back. But one thing I wanted to ask about was, do we have, what kind of ancillary support are we getting from the city? Are we getting any sort of like a golf cart to run people around in? Are we getting sort of a medical tent? Do we have any support in that area at all? I mean, once you get above
We
200
have
people or so.
Yeah, we have a first aid station that's being staffed by doctor volunteers from Riversong. We have not requested any of those things from the city. And
I
kind of
don't think they have them to offer.
yeah,
Kelsey has been very forthcoming. We were interested to find out if people participating could drive their car on site. That is a pretty definite no.
to set up a table, yeah.
We're going to need to come up with a way to carry people's stuff from where the street ends to the site. Of course, it's not very far.
Well, that would.
I emailed to the Bill Clavercamp to see if we could borrow any of his garden carts. I haven't heard from him. Wheelbarrows may be something that we want to collect and have 6 or 8 wheelbarrows there for people to use. That may be
One of the jobs on the day of is going to direct traffic right there on Stults, on both sides of Stults, because that's where people are going to be dropping stuff off. Okay, the main agenda item we haven't talked about yet, and I want to kind of move to there, which was and I put it out in the notes that John sent out, is so this is our event. How are we going to be present? We have a table for RRCO. Brenda has this whole thing going for the businesses with the donations that are going to be, people can win prizes and donate the donated goodies from a game. And Charlesie is going to have a table, but I don't know if so Brenda's idea is that we have like 3 tables, and it's all RRCO, our main table, and then the what's it called, cornhole game, and businesses, and Ready River Northwest Revity, or whatever it's called. And what did you think of the suggestions I made, John? Because you were going to run that show.
Um, I frankly haven't thought about it.
No.
I assume we would have our flyers and our brochures. Um, I, it's been suggested we have planning information. I'm as discouraged as I am. I think we could have that information there. Um, I think we need sign up sheets for everything and anything we want people to do. Will Michael Lambros be there recruiting people for what we called net before?
I have not had a chance to get back with him. That's one of my to-dos when I get back. If somebody wants to follow up with him and see if he's planning to participate, that would be great. Otherwise, I'll do it when I get back. I guess I'll do it when I get back.
I'm not the
Um,
right person to ask, Michael.
So circling back and closing the loop, the Parks Department has tons of vehicles that can transport back and forth. And given that it's a weekend, they're not using them. And this would be a perfect opportunity for our city councilor to flex her muscle and make a phone call and get us some equipment that has like a golf cart that has the back bed that can run things back and forth in
Yeah.
case we have a medical emergency or whatever we need. So
You
this
want to
would be
coordinate
the
that
tip.
with Jan, please? Coordinate that
Yeah.
with Jan to make that happen. That'd be great.
Yep.
Okay. So who is planning to show up and help staff the table, the RRCO table? Nobody.
I raised
John,
my hand.
I'll be there. I mean,
you'll
I'll
be there.
I'm
Dan,
happy to serve.
Jan will be there.
I'll be busy myself.
Yeah, I'll be busy too. Misty, are
Me
you gonna be staffing the cider press the whole time?
Yes, yes, I was
Okay.
just gonna say that's gonna be an all day, like the length of the event. Hopefully, if I have enough apples to process and keep things going, and
Yeah.
yeah, so that's what I will be doing. I signed up to share a story at the spoken word thing, so hopefully I'll be able to step away for a second and do that. But
Yeah.
I let them know that if there's a lot of people that sign up, then I don't mind like stepping, down and not participating in that. But I am concerned, Jan, about, and maybe we already got this answered, but we do need electricity to run the apple
Yeah.
press.
We got that covered.
We,
Okay.
we identified electricity a month ago.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I'm
And
a little bit
we'll also have water as well, because you need to be able to wash the thing too.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Yes.
So I was thinking that we really need to have a good showing at the table. And I was thinking maybe we could tap some of our regular meeting attendees who are not on the board to help us staff the table. And if Michelle and Beth, if you're not able to be there that day, I'm wondering if you can help do that outreach to get some people to do that.
Yeah, I'd be happy to do that if you've got contact information for them. I'm sorry, we've got our grandson, our 3-year-old grandson that weekend, and
You got to bring the grandson to the event. There's gonna be kid stuff there.
well, he would be everywhere.
Well,
I don't dare do that.
I don't know. I'm disappointed. I want to meet your grandson.
Yeah.
No, seriously, there's going to be structured activities for kids there.
Yeah, I know, and I'll see. Yeah, he's kind of a wild and crazy little kid, so.
Right.
Yeah, I'm amazed at all the stuff that's planned at Razor Park. That would be a super event all by itself at Razor
Yeah.
Park. All this nature, education and chalk and identifying bugs and stuff.
Bees and honey tasting and
Yeah.
What about ID tags for the board members at least? And do we want to encourage other people to have ID tags?
that's a good
Good
suggestion.
idea. Yeah. I think
Yeah.
that's a good idea.
So either you guys or someone should pick up a couple of hundred ID, press on ID tags.
Yeah. Yeah. Become dollar store. Yeah, particularly board members, we should identify ourselves. This is going to be an opportunity to talk to people about what they want us to, what they would like to see in meetings, why, what are obstacles to participation? What are they passionate about? Just those kinds of conversations casually. It will be very rich,
A response to that, a partial response to that, Claire, is we are going to have a community bulletin board. And
Right.
we can have sections of that and ask people specific questions. And that could be
Right.
a question,
It's a good idea.
any questions we want to ask. And then space where people can say, I'm looking for this, I'm looking for that. So that's a
Okay,
good,
so
that's a good item.
where's Susan tonight? That's who we're missing, is
She
Susan.
said she would be out of town.
Okay, so another question is whether or not the CAC will have their own presence, or is there going to be stuff about the neighborhood plan on our table, or how are we managing that?
I haven't thought about it. Do you have any thoughts, Beth?
I think it'd be great to have the neighborhood plan there and somebody that could speak to it. I'm not sure who's got the time to do that.
Well, we could certainly print one out or two off or whatever.
Yeah.
And I just can't be neutral about it if I'm asked. I don't know how to do that anymore.
What about Louise? Could Louise help us staff the
Louisa?
table? Louisa?
Louisa might be willing to. I can ask her.
Yeah. Michelle, were you
Yeah,
saying something?
I was going to suggest Louisa because
Yeah.
she's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So
I've also got 500 business cards that people could put their names on. If anybody wants them, let me know and I can deliver them to you in advance so you can calligraphy them any way you want.
actually, I think that they're in the bag of literature that you brought over
That I
to my
gave to you?
house, and
Okay.
that Julie now has that bag. Brenda had it and she's out of town, so Julie has it. We don't have very much RRCO literature anymore. We have maybe 5-10 brochures.
Well,
And
I'll look around and see if I
some,
have
but
any
they're
more here.
old.
What?
I have some, but they're years old, but still could be.
The color ones, the 3-fold color ones.
Color, yeah, the color.
Yeah, and then we have several one sheet, with here's our meeting time and stuff like that. We have maybe about 20 of those.
Okay, well, I may have more here. I'll double check.
So that's the main thing is what are we going to have at our table to give to people that's inviting? If we have any pictures or print out copies of the newsletter or past newsletters, or we've got to look alive here, folks.
Well, we also should be able to record people's email addresses if they want to be on our emails.
That's absolutely got to be doing that. It's got to be a focus. That's what brings people to meetings. So that's the report.
So I have an idea
Yeah, Daniel.
that I wanted to toss out there to the group. I've gone down the rabbit hole a little bit with it, so I can answer a few questions intelligently about it. One, should we raise money at this event? And if so, to whom should we raise money for?
We can raise money for the event. Just a couple of points on that, Daniel, that this part of our agreement to use this public space is that we can't sell anything.
Sure. Okay.
And I don't know if that includes selling tries at the dunk tank or what. But that might be a problem.
Well, again, so we have to get with the city, and that's back to being a Lindsay thing, right? So if we're selling apples or selling, candy or something like that, then, but if we can get
We're not
approval
selling
to
any
do,
food. We're not
know,
selling
I'm-
anything. Okay.
I know. I'm saying it was not like we are selling apples or candy or
I get it.
something.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, so there's something to the added benefit here, right? So what does that look like? So, you know, we could raise money to pay for the event. You know, if we're incurring the cost for this, if we want to raise money for food for Lane County or whatever, Lindsay has said that she will do the dunk tank if we would like, and it's okay. So there's an option there. I don't know what other people's thoughts are on it, and it wouldn't cost us any money because I will pay for it.
Let's talk about that for a minute. What are could you pitch the idea to everybody?
Sure. So we've got, you know, let's say comfortably 200 people who are going to be at this thing. So we have kind of a captivated audience of folks. Dunk tanks are nice for hot weather. So we would have a dunk tank out there for, say, 3 of the 4 hours. And the idea would be people take shifts inside of it. Lindsay signs up for an hour, for example. And people who want to dunk their city councilor don't have much of an opportunity without going to jail. So here's your opportunity to do it. And it's a great, fun way to get, you know, to have some community and fun and all the stuff that goes along with it.
Did you ask Barbie yet?
Pardon?
Have you asked Barbie?
I'm not taking that on.
So I have not asked Barbie. I know Barbie's going to be there. I didn't know because, you know, how the group felt. I didn't want to go down that road.
Right.
If we're not all in unison on it. As it was a little a little hard to ask to Lindsay to begin with, because, you know, there's a lot of factors involved, obviously. So
yeah.
But I'm happy to get in the dunk tank. I'm happy for other people would be happy to do so. People think it's a giant square. It's not. It's actually a giant round, you know, barrel. I've done it before with you know, some employee appreciation stuff I've had at work, and it goes over pretty well. So
I forgot what I was going to ask.
Back to really quick, asking for donations. So could we ask for, like, you know, for a donation of $1 or whatever to dunk your, you know?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying,
Yeah.
like, you know,
Yeah.
it's not gonna be, you know, free. So the idea would be if you want to do this, that's totally cool. But, you know, 3 balls is $5.
Yeah.
And then we decide, the question is, who does the money go to? Do we want to raise money for another entity? Do we want to share that with us? Do we want it to all go to us? I mean, those are I think valid things. I think the city, you know, position is, we don't want, you know, you selling a bunch of stuff and then we don't have an idea where the money's going, or God forbid there's being a bunch of food items everywhere.
The question is, do we even want to have that in the first place? I don't want to have it in the first place. That's my opinion.
What is your reasoning, Jen?
It's not a carnival. I just don't think it fits myself.
Okay. Other thoughts, John? You can't hear you.
I know. I don't think am I muted still?
We can
No,
hear
we
you.
can hear you now.
Okay.
We can hear you now.
This is a mundane question, but how are you going to fill the tank?
We can fill it and then drive it. It actually attaches to a hitch. So
Okay.
So we can just drive it over. Yeah.
I'm surprised that Lindsay's willing to do it. I think, in all fairness, you should ask Barbie if she's interested too, so we don't look like we're playing favorites.
Beth, what's your vote?
Yeah, I'm sure.
I don't know. It sounds like it'd be kind of fun.
Yeah.
Do we want to ask our Lane County Commissioner, Ryan?
That's a possibility too.
I'd buy some balls for that.
And can I, on the donation thing, could I ask for a donation of $1 for folks that want fresh apple squeezed juice?
I just feel like, I don't know, Misty, I think that's a reasonable request, but I don't want to, I want to respect the boundaries that we have, the agreement that we made with the city. So do you want to check about that, Jen? Can we ask for donations?
No,
cider?
I don't
I
think.
also wonder if we're asking for donations for the cider, we become liable that it's not hazardous.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's gonna be too kind of complicated. But I think one thing we should do is make a poster that has all of our expenses for the event, which includes the cider press and the printing and all of that, and the porta potties, and ask people to help us out. Okay, I'm still going around for votes on or comments on the dunk tank.
I'm not in favor of it myself.
We heard you, Jan. I'm looking at Michelle.
I'm in favor of it. I mean, we had one time at my workplace, and we all were in a line having a blast dunking our boss. So, I mean, it seems like, the folks in authority, lots of times it's kind of fun to throw them in the water, dunk them in the water. So I think it's a good idea. That's me.
Misty, what's your thought?
Oh, I love a dunk tank. It's always it always brings a good laugh and gets excitement, and so yes, I agree. It's a little carnival-y, but it's not too much. It's not like we're having other things that are.
Well, we're gonna have a cornhole, or whatever it's called, game right next to it with prizes.
I mean, we have to have, I know that we're having nature, this and that. And so I like to have something for everyone, though, so not everyone's into, organic gardening and cider or whatever. But, that dunk tank might bring more people to the.
Only if we tell them about it in advance. I have to say that I'm ambivalent. I'll go with the majority vote. The reason why I'm ambivalent is because it seems like a mean thing to do, and I want our energy in this day and age when everything is so mean. I wanted to have kindness, and so that's why I resist it. And so, but I'll go with the majority, which I don't know
I
is
think it depends on how the participants portray themselves too.
yeah,
They can
if it's
get it
laughing
up
a lot
and
of
make it
fun, then
light.
that's not mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing that occurred to me is that maybe maybe there would be other volunteers who would like to be dunked.
Yeah.
You can pay $5 for the privilege of being dunked.
Yeah.
Maybe Harry could dunk John.
Yeah, let's dunk John. We'll make a lot of money.
Sorry, Don. No offense.
Everybody on the CAC will line up.
I'll go in line. Oh.
I have body image problems, I'll be honest.
So Dan, that sounds to me like a yes. Do we have agreement here?
I think so.
I think that Kelsey needs to be inquired with about this.
Okay, because there might be liability issues too. We're not going to take out insurance or anything. Do you know anything about that, Dan?
No, I would assume that, anybody doing this is gonna, be dunked at their own liability. It's also not a deep tank. It's about, I don't know, maybe 4 feet deep. So basically you don't really drop and go under, you drop and your waist down is wet.
Okay.
But first things
Okay.
first is, can we, I don't see a point of it if we can't make money off of it. And I don't mean money in the sense that we got profit, but money that should go towards something. And, what would be great is maybe it was kind of a two-pronged approach in my thought process. One was we should have like a Iowa State Fair bean poll for an example, like you have a bunch of jars and you get to vote with beans on what is the next event you'd like RRCO to put on? Would you like us to have recycling? Would you like us to have neighborhood beautification, more fairs, or more nature center things? What do you want us to do? And let the people decide when we get to the end of it, and they can get to feel participatory. And then cover our expenses, either buy through this or something else, either asking for donations for that, or we raise money for a cause. If it'd be great if there was like a River Road specific cause that we could, highlight, but case it's levy. But Food for Lane County is always needing some. The schools are always needing something. We could pick, the Howard Elementary or River Road or River Elementary or North Eugene or whatever we want to do. But having that many people there, having a draw that gives them benefit versus just asking for a donation, I think there's a possibility to raise several $1,000s very easily.
Huh. Well, let's experiment. Let's be bold. I like your idea, your bean counter idea. We should have that at our booth in any case to get, yeah. John?
Yeah, if we're gonna raise money, I think we'd have more success if it was something we knew that people would support. And I think the safest and perhaps the highest and best use is to offer, just give it to the school foundations for the schools we have in the community. And not just the elementary schools, but all the way up to high school.
That's a good idea. And I do think it's legitimate to ask for support for the event because it is benefiting people and we're not asking for tickets.
Well, are we incurring any costs beyond what the city's going to reimburse us for?
Yeah. We have the toilets. We have
There's gonna be a good deal of
the
printing.
apple press, the $200 bill for the art.
Okay,
And
I was just
Event
talking to
for-
Judy Newman, over on who's on 4J about the school foundation.
Mhm.
And I could ping her again and say, what's the process you guys have at the Education Foundation for receiving funds, and is that something you'd like to be a part of or receive, and what goes into that, and then report back to everyone on what she says.
and Dan, I think you can dedicate it to specific schools, and I think
Right.
that's important that we do. I don't want to
Yeah.
get money from South Eugene.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
yeah.
You can-
Beth, do you know
and-
anything about that?
Yeah, it's just a matter of putting together the donation and it's not complicated at all.
Yeah.
But like John said, we need to specify, is it going to go toward Kelly Middle School, North Eugene High School? How is it going to be divided up? And that's just when we do the donation.
But we
Right.
can focus it just on our neighborhood, right?
Yeah, we can focus it on
Yeah.
schools in our neighborhood.
Oh,
Exactly.
good.
Yeah. Yeah. Michelle?
A question, is there, have you got a budget for all these expenses? And it sounds like John said something about there only being $1,700 in our account. So is there, I know Misty put something in the chat about, that it should go to RRCO. And I kind of am thinking maybe we should, to replenish the coffers if we're going to spend this money. And I know some of it comes from the city, but it sounds like not all of it does. So
Yeah, most of it's covered by our outreach expenses. So, and
Okay.
I'm donating the money because I got paid by the city and I wasn't expecting to, and things like that.
Okay. But so there's no budget that you guys are putting together saying we're going to spend X amount of money and.
We should.
Okay.
Yeah.
You may need
It's not a ton of money, I will subsidize part of this if necessary myself. So the amount of money I think we're talking about is not a lot. So I
Yeah.
don't think we should be too concerned. It's good, to be careful and purposeful with what we spend money on, but I think we're used to that anyway.
And I think
Yeah.
also, this is our first
We're 20 minutes
foray
over here, folks.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry. Last thing. I think we're this is our first foray into this idea, right? It's a total beta. Is it going to work? Who the hell knows? Hopefully. And that way next year we can have the next thing. And as we get a reputation for every time we put on an event, it's fun, inviting, family oriented, educational, community driven, and there's a philanthropic connection to it. We're going to get more and more people to turn out. And that also helps us when we go to our funding sources to say, we only got this much money last time, but look at what we did with it. And it'd be really great if we could get double that amount.
Good deal.
So your hand is up, John. Is that intentional?
Yeah, just want to let you know we need to move on.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, I
one of
think
the
you're right.
other outreach vehicles, and I don't know what the schools are doing, would be to see if the schools, because school is just getting started, if they
Right.
have any kind of a newsletter or anything like that that's going out prior to the start of school or right after school starts, and they could include, you know, a notice about the event in those
Yeah.
newspapers.
Jill Schweitzer, who does school garden, the garden thing,
Good.
is our liaison to the schools, and she was going to approach all the different schools in the neighborhood.
Right.
But we need to firm that up because I'm totally with you. I think that we should absolutely send out stuff through the schools.
Yeah.
It also, there's an ad in the River Road Rec catalog and our own mailing. So.
Okay. That it's very exciting. I think I haven't seen us had such a successful event pre-planning, let alone after it occurred. So it's going to be interesting. Okay, the next item on the agenda is yours, Dan. Are you able to show a video or two of yours that you produced? If I give you, and when didn't ask you ahead of time, I'll apologize. But can you show us a video or two for businesses?
I'm mobile. So yeah, give me a second. Would just be what I've uploaded already. I shot 4 new ones today. So it's been busy. Let's see.
While he's doing that, I'll just share
Yep.
that Brenda who's been doing the conversations with the business owners, that they're really excited about it. They're really happy with the videos and they're really thrilled to be part of this.
And where do
How
I
about-
go to share the screen?
Participants, share screen. Just
Actually,
make him be a co-host. Make him be a co-host.
Okay,
just skip that, John. Just stay the co-host, and you have the links that I've sent you before, right? So can you just play the links? Because that's what I'm going to right now.
but you sent them to my phone, I believe, Dan.
I did. So I can copy them right now, and I will email these to you.
Okay,
So
that'll
then
work.
you can play them. The Mad Hatter, that one will be done this weekend, along with the other 3.
What is the
that have-
matter?
The Mad Batter is a little bakery out on, or not River Road, but River, what is it, River Avenue, I guess, or whatever it is.
Oh, okay.
Just before you get onto the Beltline.
Out there by the
and it
post
is-
office.
Yeah, just past the post office, and it is absolutely delightful. It's the core inside of it. I mean, what they've done, it looks like you're in Alice in Wonderland's house. It is pretty remarkable.
Yeah, it's really neat.
And again, if the whole purpose is to highlight businesses you didn't know were here, and give them a shout out, this is a great way to do it. So my goal with this is to get, before we get into bad weather and rainy and all that stuff, and we had a little bit of a snafu with the smoke, kind of pausing this for a little bit, is to get 15 to 20 and separate out by category. So, we have a few bakeries now and food items and automotive and such. It'd be great if we could essentially, over the next couple years, create a video archive yellow book of businesses that are along River Road, and then people can shop micro local.
And people have been very generous about donations too. I have to say.
For the event.
Yeah.
John, I just emailed it to you. So it's in your control now.
Okay, I'm looking. There it is. Okay. So now I need to. Okay. Can you see it?
Not yet. Okay,
Do you see it now?
yes.
Okay. I'm impressed. And now you see everything that I look at. So this is wonderful, Dan.
The corner market's really pretty. If you want to, maybe I can post the links in the chat here.
So I think this is a great idea. I think it'll get folks to our website. The one thing that I've been talking about with Dan is I think if we were to make this available to the gun shop when it was here, or the adult bookstore, or maybe even the pot shops, I think we'd get some negative pushback. So Dan suggested we have a policy that says that we won't have advertisements for businesses that aren't able to allow children into the premises. How do people feel about that?
Yeah.
It needs to be family friendly.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It's a good idea.
And I think that will cover the concern. The other, there will be some people, if we end up doing Papa's Pizza or those kinds of places that are franchises, we might get a little pushback there. I think unless we have a reason not to, I think we don't have to approach them, but if they approach us, I think we have to acknowledge that unless there's some stated reason why we wouldn't do them, we would. And those all
Well,
have
right.
franchisees anyway.
My argument would be, well, two things. The soft approach, the hard approach. The soft approach is this is for shopping micro local for small businesses who typically don't have a budget for mainstream media or for an ad buy on radio. And this is a way for us to give back to the community and find a way for them to get, put them in a level playing field. The hard approach is I'm doing it and I get to say who I shoot.
Well, you could say locally owned businesses.
But franchises are theoretically locally owned, aren't they?
Right.
Yeah.
And Abby's gets an ad and a portion of their budget that pays for their advertising. Okay.
Well, let's if we can agree on that first policy that it's only family friendly businesses, why don't we start with that? And if it causes problems in the future, we'll deal with it afterwards. So I'll come back next month with a motion to that effect and we can vote on it.
Sounds good.
Is that okay, Claire?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you broke up. Did you need someone to make a motion? Are we in the middle of a motion right now?
Well, I don't see why we couldn't. Michelle, I'll keep it simple. We will offer our
Somebody else has to make the motion.
that's true. You can make it, Claire.
I had my hand up because I wanted to ask Dan about the resolution of the video. It seemed really poor when I just looked at it.
They're uploaded in HD, when you're looking right now at not finished ones, the process from now on for this stage is it goes back to the business owner to make their final edits, and then once the final edits are done and they're approved with what's the text is in the video and so on and so forth, then I'll finalize it, publish it to the page.
So when you
But
publish
on-
it, does it look less pixelated and jumpy?
Yeah,
Or
so
maybe-
you're
yeah.
on your, that's gonna be a user setting on your end. There's nothing I can
Oh,
do on
okay.
YouTube unless, so on the right-hand side, you should have
Okay, we don't
resolution.
need to get into the technicalities right now. We need to close out this meeting,
Yeah.
but,
For what it's
Thank you.
worth, I didn't
Okay.
see what you were talking about, Claire.
oh, okay. Maybe it's my bandwidth. So, I move that we make a policy that our video, that we provide video advertising for neighborhood businesses that are family friendly.
I'll second that.
So,
Yeah, hang
John?
on. Are you gonna define family friendly as that they allow people under 18 to enter the business?
sure.
Okay. Do you accept
John
that as a
understood.
second?
I do.
Okay. Otherwise, it
We
becomes
understand,
subjective.
John. Let's
Okay.
go with it.
Okay, all those in favor, please raise your hand if you are in favor. Your virtual hand.
Oh.
Or you can raise your other hand if you prefer. What the heck?
Jan didn't get a chance to make a comment in
Okay,
this, and he's sitting out, I'm noticing, so,
I'm gonna sit this one out because
Okay.
I just want to know a little bit more, and I can be told this later. What is the action item? I mean, how is this video stuff going to be used? I'm just not understanding is, but I'll wait for a
No.
later point. This looks like
Okay.
it's going to pass, so my question can be answered later.
thank you.
okay, I can't find my hand, so I'm in favor. Anyone
Okay.
opposed?
No oppositions, one abstention.
Okay,
Got it.
good. Thank you, Dan. Thank you for the work and for the way of dealing with that.
Sure.
So
Okay,
let me just ask this for Dan, and maybe he can answer it when he has the time in an email is okay with me. I'm just interested in how these videos are going to be used and where they're going to be shown. So that's just curious. I'm in favor of promoting local business, especially if the business is responsible, but I'm just a little bit not knowing what the destination is for this. How is this stuff going to be used, and how is RRCO's involvement, with these businesses? So if you could just
Yeah.
email me or something at some point, I'd appreciate it.
No problem.
Okay, thanks.
well, I think we would put it on our webpage. I think we all agree on that. Whether we push it out to social media, I don't know. We need to talk about that.
Okay, well, can we move on now?
Yes. Okay, so item number 6 is Dan and mine. Last month, you said we would make September's general meeting about renter information and outreach for renters, and then you plopped it in our laps. So
Who are you
Uh,
speaking to, my friend?
those of you who, I forget who specifically did that, but it may have been you. So what I have done, as you can see in the agenda, is I found some possible resources, but we need to get on top of this and get someone who can help figure out who's going to speak on this issue and make it happen. And we need to do that fairly quickly. So is there anyone who would like to help us follow through on this? And Claire, I know you sent me a resource, but I couldn't find it in my inbox.
Okay, well, I'm not at home, but I'll send it to you when I get home.
Okay, does anyone want to help us with this? It's important we get it done fairly soon so we can use it for the outreach to the renters if we're going to do that. Otherwise, you're dependent upon me and Dan. And does that list look like a right place for us to go after? I think the focus we want to have is, we did have someone come to our meeting a few months ago and talk to us about all the new legislation, but I think it was at the 20,000 foot level. What we want to do what I think we want to do is give folks a where to go if you have a problem. If your electricity doesn't work, what can you do about that? I know in the city you can file a complaint. I don't think you can in the county. That's the kind of stuff I'm thinking we're looking to present, but I'm open to what other people think as well.
John, if you think your video's on, it's not. I don't know if you think that your video's on. It may be because you forgot to share the screen back to your face, because you're saying you're referencing a document, I think, but we can't see it.
Yeah.
It's the agenda that I emailed to you.
Okay.
But I can share it if you want.
That might be something that we could ask
That's right.
Lindsay for a lead on, although, she's new.
I've got a couple of names in the city and the county I can go to.
Okay.
But Lindsay would be a good backup, yes.
I see you have Eugene Tenant Alliance on there already. So
Okay.
they're definitely the ones that's, works really hard on renter protections and would be good to have at the table at least.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's good.
The other thing I think is important to suss out, and it might take a little effort, is to figure out if you're a county resident, what options do you have that you may not have because you're not in the city? And it may be that the city ordinance applies. I'll find out and we'll make sure that folks know.
Thank you, John, for all that extra work.
And Dan.
And Dan, right. Frank, personally, I think we should have a working committee on housing, and that's the kind of thing that they would do,
Okay. Let's put that on the to-do list. Okay, so we'll move on to the next item, which is we apparently are the next locale on Best's Better Streets outreach. Best is Better Eugene Springfield Transportation. It's a nonprofit, non-governmental organization that it works towards having better active modes of transport, such as the bus, bicycling, walking. They are currently working on a project to inform people about what is being proposed for Franklin Boulevard. They're proposing to redo Franklin Boulevard to make it much more user-friendly, especially non-car oriented. They've gotten some pushback from one of the business owners along Franklin who's afraid he's going to lose parking spaces. I won't say what they are. So their idea is to make life better for those people who aren't driving their cars. And they're thinking that they want to come to River Road next. They've done some outreach to people in River Road. I've been contacted. I think Beth got contacted.
Right.
So I talked to Claire Roth, who's the program manager for this project, and said, you're doing what we want to do. How can we help you and make this happen? And I invited them to show up tonight, but they say they're not ready yet. They want to do it in 2 or 3 weeks. I don't think they understand that we won't have a meeting before they want to kick off. But at any rate, I would like to offer our services and offer to coordinate with them, but I don't want to do that unless everybody else has some idea of what this might involve before I speak for the neighborhood. Any questions or thoughts?
Two thoughts, John. One is I think it would be useful to have Rob or Claire come to one of our community organization meetings and just talk about their organization and the work, because they've been around for a long time. Talk about the work that they've done in the past and what their vision is for, because they're looking at all the major corridors in Eugene, moving through each of those, with Franklin Boulevard being the first one, of course, River Road the next one, and then take a look at how we might be helpful for them. But I think given the interest in the corridor and the controversy about it being dropped from the neighborhood plan and sort of lumped in with the rest of the city, I think it would be useful for us to know more about what they're doing and how we might be involved.
So what I think I'm hearing from you, Beth, is a suggestion that we encourage them to come to a board meeting first, or a general meeting, or both.
I would say both. I think there are other people out in the community that if we were to have a neighborhood organization meeting that featured something about the River Road corridor, we would get people that normally perhaps don't come to our meetings.
Yeah, and I think there's a population that's remnant from the efforts to stop MX that are going to want to be involved, and they should have the right to do so. So the neighborhood meeting might be the best way to do that, especially if we're working with another entity, so it doesn't put all the heat on us as board members.
But I think it would also be helpful for them to come to a board meeting so that board members understood exactly what it is that they're attempting to do.
And give them feedback.
Exactly.
So does that resonate with the rest of you, Claire?
I think that would be copacetic to have, along with either the tenants or the businesses, agenda items for general meetings for September or October, because both renters and businesses have concerns along those lines.
Right.
Okay, well, if they came to our September meeting, they wouldn't be able to come to a board meeting first. Is that okay?
We have the guests all the time who don't come to the board meeting first.
Well, what I heard Beth say is she wanted
Yeah.
them to attend both.
Well, but I think that they could come to the meeting and give a general overview because they may be working in our neighborhood before the October neighborhood meeting. I don't know exactly what their time frame is. But I would encourage us to put them on the agenda sooner rather than later,
Okay,
if they're ready to do that.
so before we go any further, I just realized that I have been an ex-board member of BEST. Michelle has been an ex-board member of BEST. And Beth, I think you've either been a board member or advisor. So
Yeah, I
truth
was
in
on.
advertising, you should be aware of that.
Yeah.
And go ahead, Michelle, now that I've outed you.
Well, and I do, I am real familiar with that organization, and I would like to make it, I would like to know more about what they're doing, because they're not a transportation safety organization. So this isn't about safety. I want to know more about what is it that they're trying to accomplish with this.
Michelle, I hate to disagree with you. They were instrumental in getting Vision Zero adopted by both the city and the county.
I know,
Which is-
I know you feel that way, John, but there's been no professional training in transportation safety from Rob or Claire, either one.
Okay.
Rob's all, and that's all Rob's opinion, and so I respectfully disagree with that as well. But there is been no professional training. I know both of those folks real well. I hired Claire Roth.
Okay. Okay, other people, thoughts? And I'll summarize what I think I heard and we'll go from there.
So maybe
Okay.
instead of having it be a 30,000 foot level overview, which can be kind of eyes glazing over on the corridor, we pick a specific thing about the corridor and use BEST and the city and transportation to highlight why we're talking about this, why it was in the neighborhood plan, and so forth. And if we're gonna go down that road, I might have a suggestion to say, River Road is the second deadliest city or street in our city. So what the questions would be to BEST, to the city, what is the plan to make it safer? And that is an anchor to get people to go, oh, well, yeah, I want to hear about that. And how does that talk about the neighborhood plan? And it just feeds more questions that you can bring in as a headline, as a teaser.
Well, as I understand it, their initial outreach is to try to get people's attitudes about the road as it exists now. Not so
Right.
much pushing a project as much as generating assumedly a perception that we need to do something, not necessarily what we need to do, and
That's
then
my
build from there.
impression too, John. And
Pardon?
I think
Okay.
they're an unknown organization. And so I think it would be useful to hear who they are.
Gotcha. Okay, so what I think I've heard is that we would like them to attend a board meeting to share with us what they think they want to do here, get some feedback from us, then as soon as possible, get into a general meeting, assuming we're in agreement, and get that process going along with coordination from us. Does that work? Okay, Michelle, is your hand still up?
No,
Okay,
I'm responding to some.
okay. So I think we got that covered. The Bean Bright Parade, are you guys aware of that? This is a proposal. This is not a proposal. It's going to happen. On October 14th in the evening, there's going to be a lit parade that will go half a mile and a half, starting at 5th and Pearl, going through downtown and back again. They're soliciting groups to join to be in that parade. The NLC may or may not put a entry together for all the neighborhoods. There's also a celebration after the parade. It's sort of a different kind of Eugene parade than what we had before. Is there any interest, do you think, in having us participate? If the NLC participates, do we want to join that up? Do we want to have our own entry? I think it costs $50 or $75 to have an entry. What do you think? It's partially being sponsored by Art City. It was being sponsored by Art City, so we've had them work with us out here before. I don't know what to do with this. Can you tell?
Mhm.
Yeah, Jan.
Yeah, I would just like to learn a little bit more. This is all I know what we're looking at right here. It looks pretty interesting.
Yeah,
Personally, I might,
there are website links there to learn more.
yeah, I might be interested to do something along with the NLC as a neighborhood function, you know. That's my first take on it. Looks interesting.
Okay, I'll express our interest and let you know what I hear. Michelle, did you have your hand up now?
No, is my hand still up? Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. Anybody who thinks we should run the other direction? Nobody says that is a bad idea.
That's a good expression.
My only pushback would be a matter of bandwidth. So, you know, if there's opportunity cost. So it is, do we, how much, we shouldn't do something that's going to be up to our standard, or whatever that standard is going to be, agreed upon. So I would not want us to say, yeah, sure, that sounds great. And then there's only a few people who can do it. And we look not the greatest out there because we haven't gotten, the support and help because we don't have that from the beginning. So I don't know what the workload is going to entail to put this thing together, but I don't want to see who's going to say, actually, I'm going to do X, Y, Z. And is that enough to actually accomplish the task?
Well, I think it could be as simple as taking our neighborhood banner and those of us who are from the neighborhood walking behind it and showing solidarity, and all the other neighborhoods doing the same, which was what we did at the very last Eugene celebration. So it could be as simple as that if people want to do more. If you go to the website, they've got some demonstrations of lit sculptures and all that other stuff. If people want to get involved that well, they could. But I think it'd be just as simple as walking a mile and a half. But I'll find out. And we will have another meeting or two, meeting before that one. We can see what we might want to do at the September board meeting. The only other question would be, do we want to invite other neighbors to join us? But we can do that after the board meeting. Okay, thanks. I think we have agendas for our September and October general meetings, so I don't think we need to worry about that. And if that's the case, 3 minutes before 8:30, I think we've made it through the agenda unless anybody has something to add. Jan,
Yeah, you know, I don't hear so great, and at the last meeting, I didn't hear Harry's comment that he made to you, John. I certainly wouldn't have had such a palsy conversation with Harry afterwards. I didn't know that he cursed at you, you know, in that meeting.
I'm not sure he did either, Jan, but it felt like he was cursing me when I told him, let's hear from somebody else.
Yeah, well, I don't know, but it certainly is not appropriate if he did. So anyway, I just wanted to mention that I didn't hear that myself, but then there's a lot of stuff I don't hear. So I want you to know that I've got a pretty high degree of solidarity with you, you know. So just a comment there.
Thank you. And maybe I misheard it myself. Okay. On that up note,
John, do you want to, I mean, just for ease of, it's like a point of personal privilege. Nobody else has to stick around for this, but Jen, you wanted some questions answered. I have some time right now. I'm doing everyone's favorite activity of peeling wallpaper off a wall. And I personally feel that anybody who sanctioned putting wallpaper on walls, there should be special criminal penalties for you, but that's a different story. But if John, you want to leave the Zoom open a little bit, and Jen, if you want to stick around, I'd be happy to answer questions now as opposed to an email. But that's, you know, I don't know what John feels.
No, this is better than email.
and I'm happy to stay a few minutes.
Okay.
But the rest of the class is dismissed.
Can we quit the can we quit the screen share?
I don't think we are.
Yeah.
Am I? Oh, I guess I still am. I'm sharing the agenda. Sorry, I can do that.
All right, great.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
You may have to deal with the occasional ripping sound. I apologize. But Jen, you had some questions. It's probably easiest if you just ask what you need to know. And
yeah, I was just curious about the videos.
yeah, so I mean, the idea was, you know, there's so many little places you drive by on River Road, and your focus is all about the car in front of you. You don't really look to your right or left. And these people are paying for, you know, the money when you shop there is not going to a conglomerate somewhere. It's paying for their kids' braces or, you know, their oil changes or rent or whatever. And so it'd be great if we could have a little mini directory of these little commercials that we shoot for businesses in our area. And if people go, yeah, actually I'd love to try, you know, some local bread. Where can I shop for it? It's like, oh, well, it's right there. And I'm trying to get the weekly to publish them on online at least when they're done, and just have it be kind of a regular series about, you know, whomever. And the directory wouldn't just be the video; it would also be a little paragraph or two about the business, where the business owner would be able to tell us, you know, my name is, you know, John, and I own the sandwich shop down the street, and this is why I decided that my life was going to be about sandwiches. And this is my wife, or this is my partner, or whomever. This is what we specialize in, and come visit us. And then that breeds a sense of community to, you know, to the business, besides just, you know, a sign and a hope that people show up. So that was the idea.
Yeah, and this would go on the RRCO website.
Yeah. I don't know that we have video hosting capability. You know, that's a different story. If not, we can just continue to use YouTube. YouTube's not the best for, you know, for this, because of the same kind of problem that, you know, Claire was having earlier. You know, that how you have personally set up your user settings is going to be determining on how you see the videos. So if we hosted it, we would guarantee that it would be in high def and that kind of stuff. But that's really up to them. But the business owners would also get a copy of the video, and they're free to do with it with whatever they want. There's no copyright or licensing issues or that kind of stuff.
Dan, I'm looking at the Pandera video and I think it's absolutely fine as far as quality is concerned. I think that was the first problem.
Yeah, and that happened a lot actually with when I did real estate videos back in the day. You get somebody who their settings are just turned down, and it just is what it is. With those aren't long-term videos, so no one really cared because once the house is sold, no one cares about marketing the house anymore. For this, somebody might want to do something different. But there's also the social media connection. We can put it on our social media page. We can put it on the different neighborhood Facebook groups. I'm sure that there are people who would want that to be on there, or have that option to be on there. And that's
Dan, I noticed
way.
you're not putting the address of the business in the video. Is there a reason for that?
So some of them do, like the Corner Market does, and I think it's the bakery has it on there. But remember, the videos that you're seeing are the draft. They're not finished.
Okay.
That has to go, to the owner. And so what I'm trying to do is, aside from giving an address, which I absolutely can do in addition, it's not mutually exclusive, is give landmarks, either visual or whatever, so that people can find it and go, oh yeah, that's right past 7-Eleven, or that's right past the flagpole, or whatever.
Okay.
Okay. Well,
That
that's
makes sense, John? Jan?
Yeah, I certainly have my own ideas about what a responsible business is. And there are some that are not and some that are, but I'm overall in favor of I wish we had a little mini downtown, here in the River Road. And there are, like you say, a lot of businesses and certainly tons that most people don't even know about. So
Yeah.
and these are people just trying to make a living. So no, that's good. I'm glad to know that. Thanks.
Can I tell you a short removing
Sure.
wallpaper story? I know an individual in the community who has an ancient home, and he is very much into preservation. He was steaming off the wallpaper so he could wash it and put it back up again. And this turned into a multi-year project. And his then wife said, here's the deal. Either you finish 1 year from today with this project or I'm leaving.
Ah.
They are no longer married.
Oh my
I
God.
was gonna say that's a hell of an ego hit if
And it
someone
was the
chooses paper over you. What I will say is, if this guy wants this wallpaper to preserve it, wash it, do whatever the hell he wants with it, he's more than welcome to have it. He just doesn't have a year to take it off.
And it's probably not 1880s wallpaper.
Wow.
No, this is circa 1992.
Not historical yet.
Zero.
Good deal.
Okay, well that's good for me. Thanks, Dan. Thanks, John. Thanks for taking those. Thanks both you guys.
For all both of you are doing. We seem to have turned a corner in energy for the neighborhood. This is great.
Yeah, well, I think that the event's going to be an awesome, good event. So let's make the best.
Me too. I'm hoping it's the start of something here. That we can be a fun thing that people can do on a regular basis. And every time we put out, that we're about to do an event, people go, "Oh, did you hear RRCO's doing another event?" And maybe we can get a wait list.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dan, do you think we need to have somebody else invite Barbie to the dunk tank?
Say that again, John?
I was asking Dan if someone might be more effective if someone else asked Barbie if she wants to be in the dunk tank.
Oh,
so
Dan. Okay.
I talked to her already. I didn't talk to her about this, but I talked about her coming, and all that kind of stuff. I don't have a problem asking her if that's, you know,
Okay,
what we want to do.
Well, this is about the dunking.
yep,
Yeah, well, let me just caution that I asked Kelsey about people being able to drive onto the Greenway to deliver stuff, and she was emphatically no. So don't be surprised if Kelsey says we don't want to do that because we don't want to drive on the Greenway. I'll ask her, but actually I've already sent the email to her. So anyway, we've already broached the idea of vehicles in the Greenway, and she was definitely tactful, but said no. So we'll see what she says about the dunking.
huh. Well, that's interesting. They drive it all the time.
You drive on the bikeway all the time?
The city does, yes.
Well, apparently the city does not equate with just regular people. I've seen people driving on the Greenway lost, thinking they're on a street.
I've seen that as well. Their
Ah.
GPS takes them on to, or
Oh,
they
charming little-
misinterpret their GPS.
Yeah, a charming little road right here in the city. Okay, well, I'll let you guys
Very
know
good.
what happens.
Good. Thanks. Thank you both.
Okay, thanks, John. Thanks, Dan. Good night.
Good night.
Take care. Good night.